So over the years, you have been an officer looking after the welfare of the state. Has the Naga society grown in terms of social, political, and economical development according to your observations?
Oh yes, definitely. There has been a lot of change in the Naga society and Nagaland in general. A lot of positive change. I remember when I first came, things were very different. There was no discourse, there was hardly any talk. There was, uh, I mean, being a non-Naga, sometimes we used to feel alienated and feel left out of place. But that is no longer the case. There is a lot of integration which has taken place, both of non-locals uh, in Nagaland and of Nagas and people from Northeast in the rest of the country. So it goes without saying that a lot of change has taken place. We were among the Nagaland cadre IPS officers, we were among the first few to come to Nagaland. So there was a different approach then. But slowly and steadily, I think because of our own nature and professionalism, passage of time, I think the direct recruit IPS officers have also sort of endeared themselves to the public in Nagaland. We have sort of earned our respect through sweat and toil in Nagaland. But as you say that it needs two hands to clap. So it's not only the work of the IPS officers and the police officers in general, but also that the general public in Nagaland has accepted us. Uh, One of the major elements which has contributed to this change is the social media. The social media has opened up communication lines and lines for discourse with everyone in the society. The ways of life of people have changed. A lot of it has changed for the good in Nagaland. We still realize that we have some way to go, but yes, these are positive changes taking place. I think the younger generation, probably the people who are in the below 40-year age group, they hold a lot of good prospect for the Nagas in general and for the country in particular also. This is also not only because of the communication by way of internet and phone and all, but also because of faster means of transport. People can travel very quickly, people can interact with others, and others can come to Nagaland. Business has expanded, so a lot of positive changes have taken place.
How is the situation of law and order scenario in our state?
Yeah, law and order situation in Nagaland is fairly good, I would say. There is no apparent reported problems of law and order on a general basis. Nagaland Police, along with the help from say CRPF or Assam Rifle, we have been able to handle things. There are issues which are there. One peculiar issue is that of extortion, which is an area of concern not only for the police but for the public and everyone in general. I think the whole society needs to sort of own up and act for curbing the extortion. It is incumbent on the public to report any extortion, and then it becomes our duty to act on whatever reports of extortion we are getting in Nagaland. And I'm not saying that we should look at only extortion in isolation, but I think extortion and the message that gets conveyed to the general public, not only Nagaland, but also investors outside Nagaland, because of extortion, is that it is an unsafe place for business. So when the business gets adversely affected in Nagaland, obviously the employment opportunities and development opportunities get restricted. So I think everybody, the state government, the police, CRPF, Assam Rifle, and even the general public needs to come together to fight this menace. An equal role has to be played by the NGOs and civil societies and the tribal bodies in helping in combating this problem of extortion. But by and large, besides the extortion, I think more or less the law and order situation is very good.
Talking on the war with drugs, which is one of the top priority, starting from organic itself, as statistics have showed, drugs have taken over alcohol. And from a reliable source who has treated patients who were police personnel, that person said that according to him, over 30% of the staff are under substance abuse. Has there been a regular checkup on that, and from the department, as well as how is the public responding to it also?
See, we have a system of annual health checks, but I'm afraid most people are not very regular in their health checks. So, rather than only getting caught for drugs in an annual health checkup, I think people need to realize that an annual health checkup is also good for other things, because you could have hidden diseases which you will never know unless you go for a health checkup. So we would want to encourage all our police personnel and general public to have health checkups. I will not be able to give you a general figure about, or agree or disagree with the figure of 30% of police personnel being under the influence of drugs, but the number could be abnormally high. So there is no denying the fact that drug abuse or substance abuse is a big problem in the society in Nagaland. And mind you, I'm not saying any particular community, I'm saying people generally living in Nagaland. This is drug abuse is a silent killer in the society. We are probably, if we don't tackle it properly, we are looking at an entire generation probably getting vanished from the scene in another 10 years time, because the ill effects of drugs are so bad that people show massive withdrawal symptoms if they are taken out from drugs. They can't remember anything, they can't talk anything, they can't think coherently, they just become, say, zombies, if you call them. And besides that, the influence of drugs and the addiction is so much that their sort of dependency of drugs is so much that to procure their daily dose of drugs, they will go to any extent to commit any crime or do anything. So a likely increase in crimes like thefts and burglaries is a direct outcome of drug abuse. Yes, some of these crimes do take place because of drug peddlers and drug abusers, where they will commit thefts. Some of the crimes which they commit to procure their drugs, to purchase drugs, get reported to police, but only those crimes get reported to the police where the victims are outsiders in the society. If a drug abuser commits a theft within his own family and the family knows that he's a drug addict, it never gets reported, probably never gets reported to the police. So we are looking at very high figures of crimes because of drug involvement, because of drug addiction or drug abuse. So I think we need to be very, very careful on drug abuse. As you may be aware that I have been calling on not only my own police personnel but also the public to please help us in combating drugs. We are open to public sharing information with us about drug users or drug peddlers or traffickers. I would again request anyone who has any information on drug peddlers to share the informations. If you can share with us names or telephone numbers or WhatsApp accounts or Facebook IDs or locations or the places where these drugs are sold or purchased, or some shops or establishment where these are being sold. I think it will be very good for all of us. You remember, it's not, I can't fight this alone. Nagaland police cannot fight this alone. I think everybody has to be together. It has to be a combined effort of everybody in the society.
Yesterday, our Deputy CM, when he was giving the press briefing, he said that there were around 101 cases and registered and 143 were arrested just in the entire Northeast. Were there from Nagaland also?
Oh yeah, a lot of people from Nagaland. I can't give you the exact figures, but you could easily say that about, say, 75% would be from Nagaland. Among the 143 arrested this year, about 75% of them would be from Nagaland. There are some from Manipur and some from Assam also.
So why, according to you, why is Nagaland, the cases of Nagaland so high compared to others? Is it because there were instances that they catch the drug peddlers and then sometimes they take it instead of handing it over to the police? Even do the same with alcohol.
Yes,
so,
I don't know what you mean by they. I hope and I wish that you are not referring only to policemen, because this menace of informally handling drug peddlers or crimes, where some people, whether it is policemen or the public, arrest criminals or people doing something illegal and try to settle all these things on their own, it is a big part of the problem. It is one of the reasons why we are not able to control crime. And I'm not saying only drugs, it is even other things. When people informally catch some criminal, and take some money or take some drug or share a portion of the drug and say, Itu bato inega kori dishe, next time na kori bi, itu bato chhariya se. So these are problems which sort of encourage the criminals, because they know that they will not be punished beyond a point. Okay, so I would suggest, in fact, I would request everybody, please, we have no problems with public helping the police in curbing any sort of crime. But my request is, the public should not take law in your own hands. I have no problems if you detain a person who is a criminal, including a drug peddler. But please remember that your job, the public's responsibility, is only limited to detaining the person and handing him over to the nearest police station or a police officer immediately. Okay? If you catch a person who is committing a crime and you hold him in custody for 1 day or 2 days, you are committing a crime of illegal detention or illegal confinement. Please don't do it. Inform us. It is our duty. Please start trusting Nagaland police more, that we will deliver justice and catch the criminals without being prejudiced, without favoring anyone or without being against anyone.
The police personnel are known to be the eyes and ears of our society. However, there has been several instances where the eyes and ears, under the influence of alcohol, were found in their uniform and performing their duty. Has there been checking of this, and how far are the measures to be taken on them?
There is no denying the fact that there are stray incidents of indiscipline among police officers and among various ranks of police department. But we must all remember that the policemen are a component of the same society. Okay, so it is the society's tolerance for all this which propels all this. But rest assured that if any such instance of indiscipline of police officer in uniform comes to our notice, the department is very severe. As per the rules, we take action, and disciplinary action against those erring personnel is inevitably initiated.
So you said about trusting Nagaland police. So this has always been an issue, because here our local law tends to dominate the state law. So sir, how do you personally, how do you see people bringing their trust back to the Nagaland police?
You have to start trusting. There is the beginning with trust. If you don't trust, you will not know how much to trust. So there has to be a beginning by trusting. Now, about the local law, about the customary and traditional practices, I would not say anything on the traditional and customary practices per se. But traditional and customary practices in any part of the world are only confined to local areas. Okay, they do not give power or jurisdiction or authority to anyone to act beyond an area. Say, for example, if there is a custom of a village A, the custom does not empower you to go and arrest in any other part of the country or the world or Nagaland, nor will that village authority or the village people have the power or the legal authority or the wherewithal to get a criminal arrested from any part of the country or in Nagaland. So it is the Nagaland police and the government which fills up this gap. We are there for this purpose. So there is no option for the public also but to trust us. It is not a matter of only option only. We are the mechanism for implementing that. Please start trusting Nagaland police. If we are found wanting, we will try to improve ourselves, but there is no option but to start trusting.
So are there ways, like strategies you have planned out to gain that trust? Because definitely we're talking about trust, but how do you get that trust?
Yeah, see, we are trying to internally improve our efficiency. Okay, so that is why, if you would have noticed, even in the speech by Honorable Deputy CM yesterday, that we want to focus more on the investigation part. Okay, it is the investigation which will help us to catch one criminal, catch more criminals in that network, and punish them according to law. So once we start doing that more and more often, we will start gaining the trust of the public more and more. But even to do that, besides our own initiative, I think what is important is the public should start reporting crimes to us. Let me say this, that just for the sake of education of the general awareness of general public, and I'm not saying this because anything wrong is there in the society, but just for the sake of awareness, there are mechanisms in place as per law, where if an officer at the level of the police station or an police outpost does not listen to a complainant, you can always go to the next senior officer to report that crime. Okay, so it is not that you have to trust an individual in a police station or a police chowki. You have to start trusting an individual as well as the system where he works in. If there is an outpost or a police station and the police officers in that establishment are not doing their job properly, or they are not treating a complainant or a complaint properly, you have the option of going to the SDPO or to the additional SP or the SP or the DIG or the IG. So there are various mechanisms where you can get it addressed. So my request to the public is, generally, please start trusting the established government mechanisms as per law. There are enough mechanisms where your complaints or your grievances will be redressed, and now you don't even need to go personally to if you have a grievance at a police station or an outpost level, you don't even need to personally go and have a meeting with the SP or the DIG. You can just send emails. We will probably try to make sure that all your grievances, whatever can be attended on the best manner possible.
An approximate of 3,000 personnels from the Nagaland police are known to be attached either as bodyguards for performing non-police duties, which the PTCM has mentioned himself. Is there a strict checkup on that? Because this police personnel has been performing the other than police duties. So, what is your take on it?
There are broadly two types of deployments, which the Deputy CM also mentioned. One is the bodyguards. So the bodyguards which are deployed or assigned to any protectee are deployed as per established guidelines. There is a threat perception committee which decides based on various criteria who is to be given how much bodyguards. So since the scenario in Nagaland is slightly different from the rest of the country, there is a decent number of people who have these bodyguards. That is one aspect. But the other aspect of deployment, which is probably in larger number, is the static guards. The static guards are guards which are deployed at either the offices or the residences of government functionaries or government offices, or at important establishments like banks, say AG office and others. So sometimes some of these deployments are inevitable. There is no option but to do it. But we are having a look at how we can rationalize this deployment so that more people can be available for the law enforcement duty and not only for providing security in establishments. This is something that we want to reorient on and reorganize that more people should be available for actual detection and prevention of crime. I'm not saying that that protecting these establishments or the important personnel is not important. It is probably equally important, but we probably need to have a look at the fact whether we are over deploying in some places. So if we are over deploying in some places, we will try to rationalize and bring those numbers down, so that we can make use of the same number of people that we are getting relieved for other duties.
In terms of promotion-wise, there has been so many cases that constable retires from the same post that he had been assigned, while the other police personnel, they get recommendations from bureaucrats, ministers, and they get the promotion fast. Is there a certain procedure that being followed so that they not only get the promotion and the rest, but everyone gets according to their seniority wise or according to their duty they had performed?
So regarding promotions, there are set procedures and guidelines in place how promotions can be done, when it can be done. Yes, there have been deviations from those procedures. Yes, there have also been delays from the established norms. Sometimes the promotion exams and all which are there are not being held regularly. So we will try to hold those exams and the promotion tests regularly, so that people get timely promotions wherever it is required. One small thing I would like to mention here is that yes, while everybody is ambitious enough that he should get a promotion maybe once or twice in a career of say 35 years, but we must remember that to have a degree of command and control over the people. So if I get a promotion from a constable to a lance nayak or a nayak, I am likely to control the functioning of 4 to 5 people. Okay, so I need to have that capability in me to command and control the 4 to 5 people, and also be a little bit educated to be able to perform those things and follow the instructions of my seniors and convey the instructions of the seniors to my subordinates. So sometimes these educational qualifications and other professional attributes are a limiting factor for some of the people at the lower level not being able to get promotions. So this is a factor. Besides this, we do try to be as fair as possible. In future also we will try to be fair, as much fair as possible, so that the promotions are done on the basis of seniority cum merit, and appropriate seniority. If people are of the same seniority, merit should prevail, and otherwise if it is seniority and a person is otherwise qualified by way of education and other tests and exams, I think a person who is eligible should get the promotion.